Ahmed Uysal is a professor of Middle Eastern Studies at Istanbul University. He joins me now live from Istanbul. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So it was first Turkiye that established diplomatic contact with the opposition groups in control of Damascus. Then we saw other countries follow suit, and now we have the European Union, which is sending its envoy to Syria for talks. So would it be fair to say that when you look at the unfolding dynamics in Syria, it is Turkiye that other countries are following?
Yes, we can say that Turkey is leading the diplomatic efforts to recognize the new Syrian administration. And of course, I mean, this is a good start for anybody, for Syria also. Also, some of the Western countries, you know, they have to compensate what they were not doing so far by not helping the Syrian opposition for a long time, or maybe, playing a low profile in the Geneva process, in also taking care of the refugees and also defending even their rights. So I think it's overall it's good that we see a good recognition of the new Syrian government and also the support for the process. It's a good sign, and Turkey is one of the earlier countries to open the embassy. Qatar is going to follow, and the other countries also are very eager, America and the EU. We also pay attention to not to internationalize the Syrian case, because international platforms like the UN, of course, we work under the UN framework, but we don't leave the decision to the UN or the multinational or also maybe a superpower dominated platforms. We need to leave the decision to the Syrians to take care of their business, to manage their own business, and we need to be more supportive than like dictating what they should do, and the constitution, the type of the regime, they have to decide themselves. We can only help them and we can maybe advise them, but we should not dictate them what to do. But the general atmosphere, I think, is generally for the benefit of the Syrians.
Indeed, I mean,
Yes.
It's Syrians in the end who are going to decide the future of their country. But I think one country that is of paramount importance here is the United States. I understand the U.S. is going to be changing its presidential administration in about a month's time from now. So do you feel the Biden administration that is in power now is going to do something when it comes to establishing this diplomatic contact, or would they wait for Donald Trump to assume office and then we will see some progress on that front?
I see it as a Turkish scholar. I see the Obama administration is just threw the Syrians under the train. And as we consider Biden administration as the third Obama administration, he was also vice president to Obama. So this is like their fault, actually, that the Syrian people suffered so much. Of course, we have Russia and Iran to blame. They are also responsible. But if America wished to topple the Assad regime, it has had nothing that we have seen this. But it is overall, I think at the end of his term, Biden want to do some good and to help Syrians, which is very welcome, and it should be supportive. I think Trump is less interested in Syria. We have seen it in his first term, and he also declared that we should leave the decisions to Syrians. He's not very he may not be so active. So if Trump just don't,
Professor, if I may ask one thing to the point
Sure.
that you made, is less interest from Washington towards Syria a good thing for Syrians?
Yes, less global competition, less superpower competition, less regional competition is good for Syrians. Our general problem is, everybody try to push, or pull to different directions. Russia in one direction, and America, EU, and others, and maybe China wants to enter. It's an open world, but it shouldn't be like a platform or the playground for global competition. Everybody, we should respect the Syrians. Syrians, they know their business more than anybody. They don't need the imposition of different agendas that, for example, we have seen Iraqi constitution, which is made by the global coalition, of course, led by America, but it's a failure. It doesn't produce a stable government. It has, a very serious compartmentalization or kind of fragmentation in the political system. Doesn't produce a strong, also successful government. So we don't want to repeat the same scenario in Syria. Being supportive is good enough, to address democratic issues like minority issues, but we should not also forget majority issues. The whole majority of Syrians, they were deprived of their basic rights, but we should balance between different principles. I think democracy is good, but without stability, democracy doesn't go anywhere, and maybe at the end, if too much instability, then it leads to another military regime that they were suffering for 60 years. We don't want to repeat that. So we need a democratic, just, and also functionable system regime in Syria, and we should be supportive. Turkey, will be supportive. Right. It's a good signs that they show support, but not in a, they as I said, they threw the Syrians under the train. They should be more, apologetic this time. They owe, a lot to Syrian people.
Right. Now, of course, what you just said about democracy in Syria and that there should be stability in the country. This is an ideal situation that should be in place in Syria after the fall of the Assad regime. But I think one of the biggest challenges facing that particular scenario is divisions within opposition groups in Syria. So how do you think Syrians are going to navigate through that, and how big of a difference is there among different political groups in the country right now?
Yes, the international agreement on the new government, which is very consensus, almost like a consensus, is very good. That maybe other groups don't aspire to take over power without maybe deserving it. And now there is a kind of consensus and support for the new government, and the transition of course is very important, and we should give some time to make more permanent decision or more long-lasting decisions that doesn't repeat it. You cannot change the constitution every day, so you need to think well on it, and considering the local conditions, local culture, minorities, majorities, ethnic and religious, sectarian differences. So constitution maybe make guarantees on all of these, but also how the system will function. And of course, the urgent need is security. If you don't provide security, people in the cities, in the rural areas, then you'll have backlashes. People will begin to complain and maybe look for other options, which is not good. I think we need to give enough time, also support that also security-wise. I think the militias, local and also foreign militias that were coming to Syria, not only, ISIS, we had, the PKK, they come from outside. You had the, Iranian-supported militias coming all the way from Afghanistan, Pakistan, or even Iraq. Some of them should leave the country, and also demilitarize the country. Because of the war, everybody has weapons. Right. And these are, of course, take time and depend on the trust on the regime, on the new government. Right. But without militarization and if the legitimate use of violence or power should be the hand of state, and also should be end of the legitimate government. So we have a lot to do, but patience is the key. Yes.
Some great points there about the future of Syria. Professor Ahmed Uysal, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. I really appreciate your taking out the time.